Less than 24 hours ago, I updated you guys about the upcoming 2023 redesigned Lexus RX. There's a leak happening on Instagram. We got to talk about this, and man, is it exciting. Well. It didn't take long for us to get some updated images here. And what we're looking at is all I did was just type in hashtag RX500H, and we got some interesting images here. And thank you to you guys on Instagram for giving me a heads up. Before we tackle the back image, because that's going to go down a rabbit hole in itself, it looks like, if I just pull this image up, it looks like this has the full design of the front end of the new RX. Well, for the most part, we don't have the rest of the left side of the vehicle here, or should I say the right side of the vehicle, depending on your perspective. What do you think about this kind of boomerang looking design at the bottom? I think it gives it a little bit extra flair here, and maybe this is exclusive to this F Sport model. And we also see a little fog light down here as well. And if we exit out of this and go to this image here, they kind of just duplicate each side of the vehicle. So what do you think? Are you excited about the looks of the new RX? I mean, it looks really wide. To me, it signifies more of a performance model than we've probably seen before. I'm excited. No, the spindle grille, typically, you got this full Predator. That's what a lot of people call her, the Darth Vader, because it keeps going up. But since it's you got this additional plate in front of it, it completely changes the looks of the spindle grille. And it looks like just the bottom design of it makes for a totally different looking front end. What do you guys think? I'm digging it. But it's going to take some time for me to get used to, for sure. And this only might be on the 500H. This little plastic piece here looks like it would be a very inexpensive insert for them to just insert on maybe their hybrids or their plug-in hybrids of this model. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are some models, let's say non-hybrids, that this little white plastic piece, well, color matched plastic piece on the grill is just like an option. Now we need to talk about the back, because what is going on here? This is, at first when I saw it, I'm like, oh, it's probably fake, but I think it's like, some people are telling me it's confirmed. I don't think it's been given to us by Lexus quite yet, but Lexus News are good friends over at Lexus Enthusiasts. That's their Instagram page. They also posted this image, and I'm 99.9% sure this is the real deal. And then this person lightened the image for us, and you can visibly see 500H. And then you also see this black badge underneath of it, and that is going to say Direct 4, because if you look at the RZ450E's rear end, right underneath the lettering for 450E, there's the Direct 4 insignia, and that's what is going on here. So here we are. This is our first ever Direct 4 hybrid setup, and I'm back to the drawing board here, guys, because I really don't know how this is going to work with this single motor hybrid system in the front, and they could even have an electric motor and e-axle in the rear, because that's what they showed to us back in December. Gosh, what was it? December of 2020. They showed to us Direct 4 hybrid setup with a very potent and powerful rear motor on that vehicle. There was no drive shaft. So that might be what's going on here with this new 500H. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's the F Sport performance model. It's kind of hard to tell. The only way to tell if it's an F Sport performance model on the outside is that the badge is filled in the opposite color than it is on a normal F Sport. I want to say it's like black compared to the normal F Sport, which is a white background. Hope you have your snacks and drinks and your salt shakers next to you, because I revised the spreadsheet and I'm still revising it. This is post-production. You've just watched me kind of break down the rear image and whatnot, but I want to talk about what could be happening with this 500H. And it all comes down to when they actually showed us Direct 4 a few years back. We have this ES going around this track, and they're saying the front engine 130 kilowatts. Well, I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be the 2.5 liter. It's going to be the 2.4 liter turbo. What's crazy here is the power numbers coming from these front motors. 80 kilowatts is the exact same motor output that we have on the all-wheel drive BZ4X and Subaru Solterra per motor. That translates to 107 horsepower per axle. So they were testing this several years ago with BZ4X power numbers, but added with a gasoline engine on top of that. So I'm going to convert these numbers that you see here, at least on the electrification side, and we get 108 horsepower, 107 horsepower, I should probably put 107 here, and massive torque figures. The thing is, if we're going to have all this power, potential power here, I don't think it would be a 500H. It would probably become like 600H. That is a lot of power if you have the 2.4 liter turbo. We look at the ES, much more modest 130 kilowatt 4-cylinder, which is probably the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated. It's like 170 some horsepower. I just don't know what the heck they're going to do. I keep like running in circles with this powertrain. I think this is probably the most conservative option, but based off of Direct 4, we know that there's an electric motor in the back. That's what we've been shown from Lexus. So guys, take it with a grain of salt, but we could be seeing enormous power numbers, but we could also be seeing a taking out of the 2.4 liter, insertion of the naturally aspirated engine, and we'd be getting probably close to this number down here. But if they keep the turbo in there, we could be seeing an extra 100 horsepower. So 470 horsepower. I'm just all over the place. So we only have just a few weeks left to figure this all out. And I'm going to go back to Kirk in the past because he has some additional news for you. From these dimensions here, it's hard to tell, right? But we have that floating roofline again. We have the blacked out window trim. And in fact, this doesn't even look like a dark chrome window trim. It just looks like a glossy black to me, which is fine. I'm perfectly okay with that. Now, what's also interesting here, to me, it's almost giving me the proportions of the RX 350L, the 3-row version, or even the RX 450H HL. It's the same vehicle, just different powertrains. So does this mean the RX is going to be a 3-row? Once again, is it only just going to come in one flavor? It's hard to say. There were reports coming out of Japan saying that a lot of the world will have the new RX, right? Just like we always have, but there's going to be a 3-row option available in parts of the world under the same vehicle. I don't think it's going to be a stretched version anymore like we currently have. So it is possible that the new RX could have a 3rd-row variant, kind of like the GV80. The GV80 isn't standard with 3 rows, but you can get that 3rd row if you want it, and it doesn't change the proportions of the vehicle. That might be happening on the RX, but I mean, it's really hard to say at this point. And from this image, it doesn't mean that this is going to be a 3-row crossover or 3-row available crossover, but that's just, I'm playing with some ideas here. Okay, let's talk about the design. We have that light bar that goes across, but it's more shrunk than it is, let's say, on the NX or the LX. These rear taillights, the L motif is very, very shortened and stubby. And you also have this little L motif grid, almost like a tracing, where you can see some additional L's in there. We also have the Lexus typed into the rear of the tailgate. And what's different on this is almost integrated into the rear taillight styling. It's not onto the metal itself. That makes sense because if we looked at the early prototype leak for the Lexus NX, it actually had the badge on it. And then they're like, well, I think we're all going to the Lexus lettering on the back now. It looks like the Lexus lettering was designed to be in this specific spot on this new RX from the get-go of the design. It doesn't look like it was just pasted on afterwards, almost like the new LX and NX does. This also has black roof rails, or at least the very top of the roof rails are black. It's this being an F Sport model. We also have paint matched wheel arches. I didn't notice that before. That's something that's been kind of rare on Lexus vehicles. It's typically been special editions that have these paint matched wheel arches. Now we got the new UX refresh, and the UX refresh F Sport, all of them have the paint matched arches. I don't remember exactly if the non-F Sports of that model have the paint match wheel arches, but I know all the F Sports do 100% for sure. So that's pretty cool. The handles here look like to be two-toned as well. So white handle with black on the top and the bottom. And these are going to be the same handles that are on the new Lexus NX, the digital latch handles, which I think are also on the fully electric RZ as well. The shark fin antenna is not blacked out. So sorry guys, you don't have that option. It doesn't look like here. Now, before I let you go, there's one more Instagram post I want to talk about over at Lexus Talks. They seem to be a newer channel because they only have a few posts here. But let's click on the one about this RX. And they're saying that Lexus has actually had some Easter eggs here when they revealed the RZ. Now we've seen this already before, which this is definitely a non-F Sport model, no F Sport badge. It could look very similar. I mean, based off the lights, this looks to be the model that we just saw. Even though this portion here is different because this is not an F Sport, and the front of the grille is a different design as well. Again, this is a prototype, so that might change. And from this angle, it looks like a 2-row crossover. So anyways, this image here with Koji Sato, this is potentially the new RX with a tablet on top. And even then, this could be a non 12-inch screen. This could be like an 8 or 9-inch screen that we see here. Again, prototype. I'm not taking too much like into this image. I wouldn't be surprised if we have the same 7-inch MID behind the steering wheel. But hey, we know Toyota and Lexus has a 12-inch MID. I feel like it would be a perfect fit in the Lexus RX if they wanted to give it that extra treatment, but don't want to get my hopes up too much. I know better at this point in time. And they're saying, there it is, while Koji Sato is right here, hybrid with Direct 4. And that's, yeah, I mean, if that's not it, I don't know what is. So we've had this spy shot as well. That was like a month or so ago. Didn't feel like talking about it too much because there's not a lot to see. And I didn't want to get copyright strike, but I think since it's been out for so long, I don't think anyone's going to be copyright striking this. And so many different publications have it. But this is the rear end with those real slim rear lights. And I don't think there's much else to say here other than we have some 20-inch wheels on this vehicle. But I'm going to end it there. Holy cow, guys. This is a game changer for Lexus if done right. I mean, the RX already just dominates the luxury crossover, 2-row crossover market, where like the 3-row crossover market in the luxury segment is definitely nailed down by its closest Japanese competitors, especially the MDX. Can't wait to drive the QX60 as well, the new redesign. You also have the Germans that are pretty good at the 3-row crossover, especially the Audi A7 comes to mind. Anyways, back to the 2-row RX. What do you guys think? I wouldn't be surprised if we get more leaks as we get closer to launch. If it's like a real bad leak, I don't know if I'll post on it, but who knows? We'll see. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I'm really excited for the full reveal. It's just like, what, a week and a half away at this point, something like that. Very, very pumped. I'll see you guys in the comments. Smash the like button for the new RX 500H. Subscribe if you're not. Peace out. Catch you in the next one. ToyotaCon. Oh, it's almost here. Anyways, cut myself off. Cut.